Like and follow our channel. Contact us to claim your free Navigator Miner when you sign up with us, while supplies last. Plus, get started at no cost.
As of yet, but that's okay. That's okay. What I am proficient with is the very reason we're all here this evening, and that is MoveQuest, where each and every one of us on a daily basis have the ability to use our physical activity not only to help improve our overall health and well-being, but to also be able to position ourselves to earn from that activity as well. And on Tuesday evenings, for those of you that are new, or if you're here for the very first time, you've recently become part of the ecosystem and just here to learn more about what's going on and how everything operates, we welcome you. And on Tuesday evenings, we have the privilege of being able to spend a little time with the creator of this platform, where she shares where we are, what's going on, and things that we can expect and look forward to as time continues. As always, none of the information that is being shared on this call is meant to be financial advice in any way, shape, form, or fashion. We always recommend that you do your due diligence before ever parting ways with your hard earned money. But the information that will be shared, is information that many of you that are listening have had the opportunity to evaluate and have elected to have it as part of your financial portfolio, as well as your health portfolio. So, as always, I want to welcome and bring forward the creator of MoveQuest, Miss Lynette Artin. Miss Artin, are you with us this evening, ma'am?
I am. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully,
Doing
everybody's doing
wonderful.
wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. I like our update calls when I have a lot of updates. Tonight, I don't have a whole lot, but I will go over them. Any update's a good update.
Okay.
We are finalizing the MoveQuest app, and I expect that we have a group of people that will be the first to test it for probably the first 48 hours that it goes live through our testing phase, and then we will open it up to the community, and just to kind of get some feedback as to how it's working for people, if they like the way it's working. Then we will deploy it into the Apple Store. You won't need to use Test Flight. Um, and then you'll also be able to download it in the Android store. We will be bringing the boosts live here. That's part of the gamification. That's the next thing on our list. It does look like the leasing is probably going to be mid-May, very latest end of May. It is done. We're just looking to see that growth in the community, which we're getting it. It's coming across very good. We're growing very strong. Let me see. What else? What else? What else? Um, I got something on the tip of my tongue here that I was just going to share. Oh, what the heck? Isn't that terrible? I hate it when I have something that I'm gonna share and then boom, it just kind of goes away. Oh, the hatchery. We are at 58% in the hatchery of the total circulating supply of MoveQuest, which is phenomenal. All of you who are in the hatchery, you guys absolutely are probably loving that, right? Because it really boosts what you are receiving from mining the MoveQuest with that proof of physical activity. And I am guessing we're waiting, you know, we I'm pretty easy to be reached. And I know that there's a couple of people that have been waiting on some of their crypto transfers to take place. So we've kind of delayed the start of using the hatchery for onboarding. So everybody who is still entering the hatchery, you're still getting those move quests back at the end of 222 days, plus what you've mined, as well as getting those miners. Now, when we switch it to the onboarding process, you'll spend the MoveQuest to get the miners, and then you'll earn the 0.001846 through the hatchery based on the number of MoveQuests that you used to mint your miners for 222 days. And then you're able to roll those into the golden hatchery or, you know, claim them back to your wallet. And so right now, we're looking at probably Monday that will begin. And so right now, you've probably got through Sunday to still slide in under that community perk that everybody is getting. Trust me, that's a perk to get all that MoveQuest back and get the miners. So basically, you're getting those miners essentially for free. But to have almost 60% of that in the hatchery, that's our goal. So when you're looking at your dashboard and you see like a max amount of MoveQuest, or yeah, it's kind of a max amount. That's not all that the hatchery will accept. That is showing you how close we are to reaching that 60% goal. Now, once we switch it to the onboarding, we'll actually increase that to 80%. And so you'll see that change quite a bit. That means that only 20% would be circulating of the MoveQuest that's being held by wallets. There's only 258,000 MoveQuest that are in holders' wallets. There are, and actually I can give you the exact amounts here. Give me just a second, pull this up. Because to me, all this information is kind of important. 355,835 MoveQuest tokens are currently in the hatchery. All of those would be released back into the community to the owners' wallets once your 222 days are up. Now, once we move to the onboarding process, those MoveQuests wouldn't be returned, they become liquidity, which is also very powerful for the ecosystem. There are the evolution contract. It works really well. For the ecosystem, for the community. When the demand is there for the token and you still get a little bit of that overselling from the community, then the ecosystem can kick in. It'll buy those MoveQuest tokens, or it'll do a market correction from the liquidity. And so right now, just in the last, I would say 3 weeks, the evolution has acquired 97,954 of the MoveQuest tokens that were actually sold when there wasn't a demand for those to be sold. So that's kind of telling you what the community is oversold. And so the ecosystem will absorb those and then they become liquidity, which is also very good because it means that they can't be sold until they've been bought, because the ecosystem will provide that as liquidity. It'll take those MoveQuest tokens, pair it to USDT, and then somebody has to buy them before somebody can sell them. So that's almost 100,000 of those MoveQuest tokens that have gone back into the ecosystem, which basically they're owned by the community because that's the community's liquidity. Um, Let me see here. The liquidity pool is only 25% away from being fluid. So it's 75% fluid. The liquidity pool is based on a 50-50, pairing of tokens, but we're actually just shy of 75% of being fluid, meaning that those 259,000 tokens, I'll give you the exact 259,008 MoveQuest tokens are actually in um, holders' wallets. If they were to do a crazy, selling spree, those tokens, 74.86% of the people holding those tokens would be able to sell them between $14.43 down to $6.23. All right, so that kind of gives you what that bottom floor price would be if all those tokens were sold. We pretty much stay pretty steady between 250 to 260,000 tokens that are in these holders' wallets. So the majority of those tokens aren't being sold. I think a lot of what you see being sold is what people are claiming on a day-to-day basis. And they go, they sell them, they use them for whatever, cash them out, or they, use them for their mining fees. And so it's actually, I mean, everything looks really, really good when you're looking at liquidity, when you're looking at the amount of tokens that are in circulation, when you see that, you know, 58% of the tokens that are held by holders in the community are actually being staked in the hatchery for additional mining rewards. It shows you they got a very strong community support that see the vision in this project, plain and simple. So that's encouraging. Makes me very happy to see that because, it's crypto is something that people are still learning and grasping, and I'm still kind of sometimes I think, wow, I explain the same things over and over and over and over and over and over to the same people multiple times, and they're still not getting it. And then I have to think back and think, you know what? How long did it take me before a light bulb went on and I started to really get it and I really started to understand crypto? And so I think when people really start to see that light bulb come on and they start to understand how this is a self-sustaining ecosystem where 90% of all transactions stay with the project. That there was no allocation of tokens to myself, to any of our admin in MoveQuest, that there was no pre-sale, that there is no um, like a lot of times they'll have all your projects will say, okay, well, after X amount of months or so many years, and we'll start to sell the token. The project can't even sell the tokens. So there's no, you don't have to compete with the project itself. And I think when people start to understand how all of this works, and that light bulb starts to come on, that's when you're going to really see that viral growth. We've increased our submissions. We've almost, I think we're over 5,000 daily submissions from wallets with their proof of physical activity. I think we're closer to 5,100 actually at the moment. Once we get up to where it's at about 10,000 daily submissions, you'll really see a big boost in the liquidity based on, the submission fees don't change, but as the community is growing in size, the amount of submissions increases, which, adds obviously more liquidity. So it becomes more balanced than what it currently is at the moment. We are most likely going to end the ability to do um, the navigators in the hatchery, and I'll explain more about that later, um, probably in the next week. I'll explain the reasoning behind that. Probably actually we'll do a Zoom so people can visually see exactly what we're doing moving forward with the hatchery. We've got some um really exciting things that are going to be happening too, as far as helping out communities. Okay, when I say communities, I don't mean crypto communities. I just mean communities, uh, in different states for different causes that we're going to start contributing assistance too. And so we're going to start to share with everybody here how that is going to work and how groups of people can come together and actually raise funds for good causes. And it doesn't affect the liquidity or the market value of the token. So we're going to be releasing that because that piece is just about done. We have a lot of things that are going to be taking place here over the next, 14 to 30 days with releases of all these major features that are finally coming together. Now, once we get this completed on the Avalanche side, we're going to go in, and most of you know that you can mine on the Binance Smart Chain as well. That was the first chain that we got started with. There's not nowhere near the amount of users on the Binance Smart Chain as there is on the Avalanche chain. And what we're going to be doing is Everybody who is mining on the Avalanche chain will let you know when the day when we begin this. Okay, we'll be updating the Binance Smart Chain so that it matches exactly what the Avalanche chain does. We're talking about hatchery. We're talking about um, you know the evolution. Any feature that we're adding will also be added to the Binance Smart Chain. Then what we are going to be doing is wrapping that MoveQuest token, and it will also be mineable on the Binance Smart Chain. Now, this is where the multi-chain mining uh, starts to come into play. Everybody who is mining on the Avalanche chain, we will be making sure that you have miners available to be mining on the Binance chain as well. Okay, so we're not going to make you come out of pocket for miners on the Binance Smart Chain. Exactly what this entails, I'm not completely finished yet running the numbers on the spreadsheet to see exactly what will happen. What my goal is to be able to match what you currently have on the Avalanche chain, on the Binance Smart Chain, and you just would be able to submit on the Binance Smart Chain as well as the Avalanche chain. And you would be mining the same move quest. One would be wrapped for the Binance Smart Chain, obviously. One would be, on the Avalanche chain. Now, that would double, you have to still pay the submission fees on the Binance Smart Chain. You still have to pay the submission fees on the Avalanche chain, but it's also increasing the amount of liquidity that is going in, which is giving you more market value on those tokens. The next thing is the Kai chain. Now, I have to meet with the creator of they can call it and I can't hang up on it. Sorry about that. So the Kai chain wasn't really up to speed. They hadn't been updating it, and some different things have been going on. I have been told that they have moved forward with that chain, and now if that is the case and it's ready to go, we will do the same thing on the Kite chain. Everybody who's on the Avalanche chain who is mining will also be receiving those miners for the Kite chain as well. This means that everybody who's in our current community will be mining on all three chains. Now, moving forward, now we're gonna do the same thing, not for the new chains that come in. Okay, we've got additional blockchains that we're going to be building on. Most of you already have heard this. Because we are a multi-chain project. We're not most likely going to add an additional chain until closer to the end of the year. Now, when we do that, any additional chain, the current community, it will cost you 50% of whatever the cost of a miner is to move to the next chain. Okay, but we're not going to do that for the Binance Smart Chain or the Kai chain. Okay, we're just going to let everybody mine across all three chains, plain and simple. It'll make it much easier for everybody to just seamlessly work among all three chains. So that will be coming also, and that will hit before June. So we do fully expect, unless they have issues, um, with the app update for the Binance Smart Chain, we do expect this to happen before June 1st. We want to be really ready to roll through the summer on all three chains, completely updated. Everybody can submit on all three. Everybody's got miners on all three. And again, this leads back to, the big question. Is MoveQuest a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme? Does it rely on new money coming in constantly for the stability of the project? And this right here is your answer. It absolutely doesn't. If it did, we wouldn't be able to give you miners on the Binance Smart Chain. We wouldn't be able to just give you miners on the Kai chain at zero cost. Okay. It doesn't rely on the new money coming in. What this project relies on is a growing community, an engaged community that are actively using the project, who are submitting that proof of physical activity, who are involved in the gamification and the different features that are a part of this project. We could give 1 million of these miners away and it would not hurt this project. It would only blow it into the next universe, literally, because that would mean we would have 1 million people who are submitting that proof of physical activity every single day on 9 miners. We don't give them away because you need that market value on those tokens because they are an ERC 721 NFT. Okay, and they do have a market value, and we are almost completely finished with the marketplace, which means you are going to be able to swap them, you are going to be able to sell them, and once we get the piece finished, the marketplace will come up before the auction does, but you'll even be able to take bids on your miners. So do you want, you know, do you want to just sell it for a flat out rate, or do you want people to be able to um like when you go to buy a house, for example, and you get into those bidding wars, um, and you have to outbeat somebody's market price that they're willing to pay on that house, and you get in what they call these bidding wars. Okay, so that will also be part of the marketplace, but that will be coming after the marketplace is live. It's going to take a little bit longer to get that piece done and working really well, but it is in the pipeline to be added to the marketplace as well. So there's so many things that are taking place right now. That's why you really haven't seen me a whole lot in the chat groups. I haven't been, getting on the calls and stuff because I've just got so many things that we're working on right now that we're buttoning up, basically completing our roadmap of the last 4 years. And a lot of that involves, like I said, engaging the Binance Smart Chain and the Kai chain into all of this as well. Then we'll have everything really nice and packaged, pretty and ready to go. And then we can start moving forward with our marketing and doing the, other chains that we want to be bringing in. We've got so many things that are taking place right now. It's really hard sometimes to keep up with, but I gotta tell you, it's a lot of fun, a lot of headaches, but a lot of fun. So I think, Herschel, that is about all I have as far as updates go for this week. I'll have a whole lot more information. I am going to start doing um, live stream YouTubes once, probably once this week is over. My goal is to start those on Monday, kind of that round table type discussions that I've been talking about, because I really want to start explaining MoveQuest from my point of view, so people get a really good understanding of what this project is, how it all come about, how it works, understanding crypto. And I want to hold these at least 3 days out of the week. So I'll be letting you guys know what that schedule is going to be. But my goal is to be starting that on Monday. And if I don't start Monday, it would be within the next, following a few days after that. So you'll start seeing a lot more of me in this next upcoming week once we start wrapping up some of this other stuff. So I'm going to hand this back over to you, Herschel.
All right, all right. Well, no, that was some exciting information. I know that turned some light bulbs on and got some people excited when we started talking about the addition or the inclusion of all the other chains that are already in the ecosystem. So that's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah,
One of the
that's a lot of work to get all of that, brought in together under the new rebrand. But yeah, so we're just about there. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for us too.
Okay, okay. Well, one other thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned something early on, and anytime I can see something that may offer some education, not only to myself but to other people in the community, I wanted to bring it up. You mentioned that let me see here, when the liquidity provision goes out and actually purchases MQT,
Hmm.
and it's made available. It has to be purchased before it can be sold.
Correct.
If you could explain to the community, just so, because I know there are some people that may not understand that how this dynamic works. Does that mean that those tokens are then the tokens that are now available on the exchange? Is that what
No,
that means?
no. So what that means is, let's say, okay, when the hatchery moves to the onboarding feature, and let's
Okay.
say I want my 16 vanguards, and let's say it takes 200 MoveQuest tokens, right? Somebody has to go to the exchange, buy the 200 MoveQuest tokens, and then they use those MoveQuest tokens to mint their miners that they want. When that 200 MoveQuest comes into the hatchery, it now belongs to the community. Okay, that becomes the one side of the pair that has to be added to the liquidity pool. So the person who used the 200 MoveQuest to mint their miners will now not earn mine, I guess, because you have to submit that proof of physical activity. But these MoveQuest tokens are now in the hatchery as well. So when you submit that proof of physical activity, you're mining from the uh, mining pool of 2,500 a day of the MoveQuest. But in addition, you're getting 0.001846 per MoveQuest that you spent in the hatchery. So after 222 days, you're going to be able to claim the secondary reward, mining reward through the hatchery. You won't get the 200 MoveQuest back. You'll get the reward back. Now, everybody up until Sunday will still get all the MoveQuest back that you used. Essentially, you got your miners for free. So you'll get all your MoveQuest back, plus you're going to get the reward as well. The reason that we're doing that is because we will need that MoveQuest to be available, um, to be in circulation. You can't cut out so much MoveQuest, right? There's only 259 MoveQuest, 259,000 MoveQuest tokens in circulation right now. That is not a lot of MoveQuest. When you look at all these other projects that have, millions of them. I mean, look at STEPN, they got 2.7 billion in circulation. We've only got 259,000 in circulation. And that's why the market value of the token can maintain a higher market value, because we don't have, we didn't dilute the market with, millions and billions of tokens. Now that 200 that come in, that is now sitting in the vault, or it's sitting in the evolution contract. That
Okay.
MoveQuest has got to be paired to USDT and added as liquidity into the liquidity pool, which means in order for that MoveQuest to be sold, somebody has to buy it once it is added to the liquidity pool. The other thing that, and if people understand this, when the MoveQuest comes in at the lower market values, and let's say MoveQuest moves up to, let's say today it's $14, okay? And let's say a month from now, it's $140. So if I was, looking at liquidity numbers, you have to kind of try to follow me here. And let's say
Right.
if it took 14, and I'm going to use $1, let's say MoveQuest was $1, I would need one MoveQuest to one USDT, and then I could add it as liquidity, right? That's how that pair works. Now, if MoveQuest is $10, it doesn't need as much to be paired. Okay, so it would take, instead of one MoveQuest to one US dollar, it would take a tenth of that to one USDT to go into the liquidity pool. So the higher the market value goes, the less MoveQuest it takes. So the more it brings in at this lower market value. So let's say at today's, and I'll tell you what we have. What the So altogether, the ecosystem, the community actually is holding 300 and 334,672,000 MoveQuest tokens, plus the 97,954 that has not hit the vault yet. That's still sitting in the contract. So that's 400. It's about 450,000 MoveQuest tokens. Now, at today's market value, that is five, six, that's $6.2 million. Now, if MoveQuest goes up to $140 or something like that, now you're looking at, instead of 6.2 million, you're looking at $62 million that MoveQuest has in market value. That means it would need $62 million of USDT to pair to all of that MoveQuest. So what I'm trying to say is, as the market value goes up and MoveQuest becomes more valuable, that
Mhm.
liquidity provision becomes even more valuable. It's got more value in it because it takes less MoveQuest paired to the USDT and then added to liquidity. So what I'm trying to explain, I guess, is that right now the ecosystem is sitting so pretty, it's not even funny. Like, it has accumulated so much MoveQuest that cannot be sold. I can't
Right,
sell it. The project can't sell it. It never sells it. It doesn't
right,
get allocated for anything. We don't use it to pay developers or designers or marketing. It literally belongs to the communities coffers for liquidity, plain and simple, period. And so that is what, that's another thing that makes this project so strong, because you don't have, you know, admins or me as a creator selling off MoveQuest. It can't happen. It doesn't happen here. And therefore, it just means that the liquidity is even stronger in the future. So as the
right.
community grows, that liquidity gets stronger, because the market value of MoveQuest goes up. It takes less MoveQuest to pair to that USDT. And yes, it's a very pretty sight to see how well stacked this is. It's a very, I don't even know what better word to use. There's just mounds of MoveQuest just sitting there waiting to be paired to that USDT. And as the market value goes up, it takes less. Imagine if, MoveQuest, because the ecosystem will buy the MoveQuest as well. So let's
Right,
say it needs it, right? Let's say we didn't
right.
have anywhere near this in the coffers, right? It
Mhm.
means that we would have to take, the ecosystem would have to take the AVAX or the USDT, and it would have to go buy that MoveQuest at that higher market value, which gives less value to the liquidity pool, simply because it had to pay a higher price for it. So the project has accumulated so much MoveQuest at such low prices because of the overselling. That's why I was telling people, like, if you understood all of the dynamics of the ecosystem, yes, I hear people complain, like, why don't people get it? Why are people, why do they sell it like that? Do they not understand what they got their hands on? And I'm thinking, shh, shh, let them not understand what they got their hands on, because you guys don't understand. The community is banking all of this MoveQuest. That means for all of the holders, you're talking about future millionaires here. Sellers, weak hands never, they don't become millionaires for a reason. They can't hold onto it. They can't see, that far in front of them. It's, what do they have to take care of right now today? I have bills to pay. I have this to do. I have that to do. Trust me, it takes a very disciplined person to be
Mhm.
able to hold that and to go
Right.
through the tough times. Yeah, it's real easy to see, I got $500 sitting here. I got $1,000 sitting here. I can sell it. It's going to make life easy for me today. They can't see struggle for a few more months or 6 months, because I can become a millionaire, or maybe you're not a millionaire. Maybe, I can make 100 grand, whatever it is that makes, a person feel like they've acquired that level of wealth that they're looking for. It's different for everybody. And, so when I hear people complain, I'm always like, no, 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 no. Don't complain. You got to understand. We need people that need to sell it, because that makes the project even stronger in the future. Yes, it's a little bit discerning when you see that, like, wow, it's really pretty when you see the green. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's just as pretty when you see the red, because you have to be able to see what that means in the future. Because as they're selling it, you got to remember that they're giving it back to the liquidity pool, right? They're giving it
Right.
back to the liquidity pool. They're taking out some USDT, very little, really, when you consider the long term of this project. And when that's happening, there's two things that are taking place. They're getting that instant gratification for whatever reason that they needed, to sell that token. It's fixing or doing something that they needed at that time. But for the community who's holding, you got to think on the other side of it. Okay, they're getting rid of this at a low market value, which means those who are holding, you're going to have a much higher market value when that demand is there. You're going to get the price that you're looking for, the price you're demanding, okay, as the
Right.
community begins to grow. And trust me, we're on our 4th year of development. We are the only move to earn project that can maintain a double digit in market value. And it's only been on the market. I'm going to tell you exactly how many days. Today's 27, 29, 275 days. That's how long this token has been on the market.
Beautiful.
Now, you go look at Steppen, who's been on the market for almost 4 years. Okay, to be 4 years this fall. And they can't even reach 6 cents. Okay, they're lucky if they can maintain a nickel. And they had over 2 million users. Okay, we have a community of about 50. Well, if everybody was submitting, we got a community of probably about 8,000. But of, those avid daily submitters, about 5,100 that don't miss a beat.
Right.
That's a very strong market value on that token. Now, if you can imagine that the heaviest amount of MoveQuest that's been in circulation at any time has been in the earlier days, right? When there was only 100 people or 200 people or 300 people that were mining, that were really absorbing up a lot of that token from their mining, that proof of physical activity.
Right.
Altogether, in the last 275 days, 1.3 million, 1,316,642 MoveQuest have gone into circulation. But
Right.
the community is only holding 259,008 MoveQuest tokens. Okay, now the holders, they're in the hatchery, 355,835 MoveQuest tokens will go back to those wallets that deposited into the hatchery up until Sunday. So that will provide the MoveQuest that's needed when the demand is here for it. And they've already proven that they're the holders, right? Because they put it in the hatchery. Most of the people that are in the hatchery right now, they didn't need those miners. They're already
Right.
mining. They wanted
Right.
those additional mining rewards. But as the community is growing, people have to spend that MoveQuest. They don't get it back. And now the hatchery is going to start to absorb that MoveQuest that has to become liquidity first. So it just becomes extremely strong. Um, we got to make sure that there's adequate supply. Can you imagine in 222 days if everybody who's coming in has to go buy that MooQuest? It goes into the hatchery. It means it's not available. Even the project itself can't touch it for 222 days. Not even for liquidity. It can't. It won't be in circulation for that 222 days, regardless of whether it was going back to the user or whether it was going into the ecosystem. And imagine if we didn't, if now everybody who does onboard into MoveQuest, they will need to come through that hatchery.
Right.
There wouldn't be enough MoveQuest. Now you've got an overinflated market value on the token because we've created such scarcity through the ecosystem because it's got a very strong ecosystem, and that's
Mhm.
not good either. So it has to be that balance. And that's why we wanted to make sure that we have adequate supply. And that's why the community is getting those MoveQuest back. One, you proved you're responsible with your tokens. You really didn't need those miners because you're already mining. If you wanted them, you were going to get them for leasing, but you really wanted to be in that hatchery. Your
Right.
holders, your long-term holders, and it's going to give you that additional mining reward. So we're not afraid, right, of the overselling from those tokens. The 259,000 that are sitting in wallets, those you might as well consider them sold, right? Those people are going to sell them. They're not in the hatchery. They're going to sell them at some point. That's why they're not in the hatchery. They like them being in their wallet. When it gets to that market value that they like, they're going to offload them. That's what they're going to do. So when you see that number of what's in circulation, you have to assume that all of those are going to be sold. That's not a bad thing, but when those are all sold, then what happens? Well, there's only 2,500 a day that are going into circulation. And so you're
Mm.
going to start to see this really flip a switch, right? It's going to flip the other way. It's not going to be the holders aren't going to have any because they're not holding, right? It's the ones
Right.
that are in the
Right.
hatchery that are holding. That's our supply. If you think about it, we really have a supply for future demand of 355,835 MoveQuest tokens that are in that hatchery. Those are your holders. Those are the ones that are waiting for that price point that they want And what gets you to that price point? A demand for the token. And that's when they will sell. But they know they're selling when it's at a higher market value. The 259,000 that are sitting in wallets, those are not holders. Okay, they're waiting for it to hit $20 or $25, a very small amount, and then they're going to sell. So that's what we have to look at, and that's not enough. That's not enough tokens, and so we
Right.
needed those ones in the hatchery to be released. So hopefully, I know I just spieled on and on and
Oh,
on,
no,
but did that make sense what
no,
I was
that's
trying
great.
to explain?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to that point, because I know a lot of questions are going to come behind this. And Willie, I got you covered here on this one. um, the tokenomics as it pertains to the Binance Smart Chain specifically. We'll talk about the Kai chain in the future when we know more or what have you. But are you telling me that we will be mining on the Binance Smart Chain? You're going to wrap MoveQuest, and every person that already has miners will also have the ability to mine with miners on the Binance Smart Chain side that will be provided to them at some level. And we have the power or the option to submit daily with the same proof of physical activity on both blockchains, and we're still going to be getting our proportionate allocation of the 2,500 or however many you that may go up to
Yep,
MQT that released every day. No other tokens are being introduced into that equation.
correct.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Uh-huh. And this is why those who sold will wish they had not.
Wow. Am I missing anything in reference to the tokenomics? Because it sounds like it's exactly the same as what we just have, but you just have the option to submit your same physical activity twice.
On the Binance Smart Chain.
Right,
Yep,
right.
yep.
Okay, okay.
And we'll be increasing the amount of the MoveQuest token as well. We can go up to as high as the 5,000. So once we are able to, add the Binance Smart Chain into this mix, then we'll also be able to increase the amount of MoveQuest that's being mined each day. Because you have to remember, there's two blockchains now that you're
Mm-hmm,
submitting on. So you'll have the
mm-hmm,
submission fee on the Binance Smart Chain.
mm-hmm.
You'll have the submission fee on the Avalanche chain as well.
Right.
So that's going to add double the amount into the liquidity daily. And so we will be able to increase those MoveQuest tokens up to where they're supposed to be.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Basically, you got a whole nother setup without having to have another watch on the phone. It's
Hmm.
basically what you just did. We're just doing it on a different chain. Perfect.
Correct, 100%.
Okay.
And now you don't have chains competing because here's what would happen if we didn't wrap the MoveQuest token.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen is people would be selling on the Avalanche chain to be able
Mm-hmm.
to mine on the Binance chain.
Exactly. Exactly. You just
And so
move in.
now it's just a
Now, yeah.
redistribution of liquidity from one chain to the next. But now you
Right.
don't have that. It's just a wrapped MoveQuest token on multiple chains. Now, in the future chains, yes, the communities, if you want to mine on those chains, you'll have to spend the money for those
Mm-hmm.
miners. We're just not going to do that for the two chains that we already have here. Again, that goes right back up to the you don't need the new money coming in for the project to sustain
Right.
itself. New
Right.
money is constantly having people come in because we need them to mint these miners because the project relies on it. I don't know if people realize this or not, but we don't even use that. That money plays no role in this
Right.
project whatsoever. It doesn't pay anybody. It doesn't pay any bills, designers, developers. Why? Because it's MoveQuest. It can't be used. It can't be used.
Just pulls it out of
It can only
circulation.
go in as liquidity. The
Right.
project relies on a growing community that's engaged daily. Okay, so the larger the community that's daily engaged in submitting that proof of physical activity,
Mhm.
joining different events that we have or different challenges that we have, making miners available through the leasing, the
Mhm.
phantom miners, the um, events that we're going to be holding to raise money for different charities and things like that that we're getting involved in. Um, and again, that won't even affect the liquidity. And here, which I'm not going to get too deep into this, but let's say we wanted to do a fundraiser for, let me get rid of this lifesaver a minute. Hang on. Makes it hard to talk. My mouth has been so dry
Right.
after this cold of mine. But anyway,
Right.
so I'm
You,
going to
you
talk.
know if you know if you put some of it, you're gonna find yourself going down that hole.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just going to give just a little vague idea because it's really
Okay.
important for me to,
Okay.
that people understand. Um,
Okay.
you have to debunk some of these idiots out there. And I'm not talking about our community idiots. I'm talking about
I
I'm a
understand.
crypto expert and I'm going to tell you how this project works. And I look at him and think, you don't know jack shit because you just said it all wrong. Like you're clueless. So I'm just going to explain to you a little bit about how these types of events would work. For example, let's say we wanted to do a fundraising event, let's say for the Humane Society. I'm just going to throw it out there for pets, right? Because we do have something coming with pets, guys. Um, and I'm not going to get into that too deep yet. But we would be able to, let's say we had 10,000 people. The only thing they wanted to do was join this event, right? They wanted to join the event. They wanted to help raise funds for this Humane Society event. They don't have to buy miners. We make phantom miners available to them and they mine with them. So it was no cost to them. They get to mine the MoveQuest, but their submission is doubled. Okay. And we donate 50% to that charity. The project doesn't keep any of it, zero of that fundraiser. And then the 50%, as usual, that stays with the community. So we doubled the submission. Let's say if it was 53 cents to submit on a Titan. With the charity
Mhm.
event, it would cost $1.06.
Right.
53 cents of that AVAX would go to the charity. The other 53 cents would go to liquidity, just like it already does, right? And
Right.
so, again, more to the point, it's not the new money coming in, it's the engagement
Right.
within the ecosystem. And so, I'm a firm believer that, you know, you have to give in order to receive. And I've always felt this way. And so I'm not saying, okay, MoveQuest is going to become a big charity project. No, but you know what? This project is so powerful. And because 90% stays with the community, we can do so much to help others. And so we're going to be able to start doing a lot of community outreach and a lot of good things, not just changing the lives of the community who's a part of MoveQuest, who are mining every day, who have taken home a portion of the $30 million that has already gone through the liquidity pool, but we're also going to be able to help change people's lives that don't even know we exist yet. And we can do
Right.
it faster than any government can do it too.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay. Well, listen,
So I
Miss
kind of
Miss
gave a
Lynette.
lot away,
Good.
but I didn't really give it all away because there's so many details still to it. But the
I
bottom line
understand.
is this, MoveQuest is life changing, and that's what we're going to do. Not only just for the community who is engaged daily, but you know, people who, like I said, haven't even heard of us yet. There's a lot of good that we can do around the world that needs us, and that's what we're working towards as well.
And all that's going to do is not only benefit whoever those charities are or whatever the case may be, but it also helps the community just grow. Anytime you're doing, they call it serendipity. Anytime you're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time, good things happen. So I
Yeah,
definitely believe that we're on that path. Many positive things are continuing to take place. More and more people or are becoming to know and understand more about how the ecosystem actually works, they're becoming more and more comfortable with it. And like you said, you mentioned, a number of occasions, those strategic alliances and partnerships and things like that, or there, just so the community knows, big things move slow. And anytime you're dealing with corporates and things of that nature, things may not always go as fast as you want, but as they say, big things move slow, but they're very hard to slow down too. So
Yeah, and you
we
have to
look forward.
realize this is a revolutionary project. It's never been done. There's not a single
Right,
project out there that even comes close to what MoveQuest is or our ecosystem. Even with the events, again, everything is done instantly. It's all done in real time, and nobody is managing that event. It would
right,
be set up, where a smart contract manages that event, and they don't get MoveQuest from the event. They would get the AVAX from the submission
right,
for that event. So it has an impact on the liquidity pool because it increases the number of people who are actually participating in the ecosystem for
right,
whatever event it is that day. Maybe they don't own miners. Maybe they're not mining every day. Maybe they were only here for that event. Maybe that event lasted for, 2 weeks, or maybe it lasted a day, whatever. But
right,
it increased the engagement of,
right,
within the community, within the ecosystem, and it was able to do outreach and help other people with different, things that they needed
right,
help with. Now, we will make sure that all of the events are legitimate, 503c vetted projects. And then we're also, like, we can work with churches, we can work with, there's so many different
right,
groups that we're talking with right now and that we're working with to set up these types of events. But when you think about it, it's instant. It's in real time. They're getting the AVAX. It doesn't affect the market value in a negative way. It doesn't have a negative impact. It's not like we're handing a MoveQuest and they're going to go sell, $100,000 worth of MoveQuest and take a hit to the liquidity pool. No, they are actually increasing the market value of the MoveQuest. Those who are mining for those events, they get to keep the MoveQuest that they're mining. The
right,
event is gonna get the AVAX from the submission, or the BNB from the submission, whatever chain, that the event is being held on. And then the liquidity is still, being injected, and it's still, increasing there. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the community. It's a win-win for the event, whatever, charity it happens to be at that time. And we may even have one-on-one individuals that, somebody comes and says, hey, we really, this family needs help, or this is going on, so many things that we could do at Christmas. And yeah, just a lot of things that we're working on right now. But the best thing is, if you want to do well in life financially, you got to be willing to give. You got to be willing to help others. And so we want MoveQuest to be that full circle. We want to change lives with our project and with this app, but we also want the community to be giving back as well. And you'll enjoy the money that you're making when you know that you've helped others. It's not a handout, but a hand up. And to me, that's important.
right. Understood. Understood. Well, once again, Miss Lynette, we definitely appreciate you taking time each week to come and share. I know there's some people that have really been excited about some of the information that you've shared tonight. So we're going to go ahead and put a pin in it for this space, but we will be back next week. And everybody just keep your eyes on the chats for information. And if there's anything that comes out that needs to be broadcast or communicated to everyone, we'll make sure that all avenues are utilized to make sure it gets communicated to you. So until next week.
Like and follow our channel. Contact us to claim your free Navigator miner when you sign up with us, while supplies last. Plus, get started at no cost.